John Adams on the Transmigration of Souls is a work that was written to commemorate the first anniversary of 9/11. I think of it as an impossible task for a composer, probably the most prominent living composer. He was only given 6 months to write it. And what he wrote, I think, was perfect. He did not call it a requiem. He did not call it a memorial. He called it a memory space. A piece where people would kind of go into their own thoughts and have their own recollections of what that day means to them. And as with any major event in history, it means many different things to many different people. And the piece is intended to evoke a lot of those personal memories, but keep it in a very personal manner. That's why I think this piece is incredibly powerful and is a work that needs to be experienced in a live setting where you get to hear the orchestra and the pre-recorded sounds on a tape that add a lot of drama to a performance. The John Adams piece has the unusual addition of having pre-recorded sounds that are played, well, they used to be many years ago on a tape, now they're on a CD. And these are sounds that involve city sounds from New York. You hear the sounds of cars and you hear the sounds of people running and walking. But it's not particular sounds from 9/11. I think John was very smart in not trying to bring back the terror and the horror of that day, because we know the story. We know it very well. But you hear the sounds of a normal city, very chaotic and busy city, and voices of people. The text, if you want to call it that, actually comes from three sources. The first are little snippets that he captured from what people put up. Remember those walls with pictures of people that were missing and giving descriptions of who these people were. John borrowed some of those. Some of the other parts of the text come from a series that the New York Times did called Portraits of Grief, where relatives of the missing talked about what their memories were of their loved ones. And then the last part of the text are random names of people that were lost on that day. I believe it's altogether about 200 names. So all of these things come together almost as an additional instrument to the orchestra that adds, as I said, a little bit more drama to the performance. On 9/11, I was actually at home in Minnesota, which was rather unusual because normally it would have been probably on a plane traveling somewhere. So I guess I was lucky enough that I was at home with my family as this was happening, and my daughter, Virginia, was 2 years old at the time, and she was playing in front of me as I was watching the TV and trying to make sense of it all. And these are, I guess, memories that people always say, oh, where were you on such and such day? I think 9/11 is one that for all of the world, it really brought that attention together. And it was the beginning of the season for many orchestras. And I remember that even people saying, should we go on and perform that weekend? I mean, is that appropriate? I mean, shouldn't we just sit down and once again, I think that's what brought the best of humanity, of saying, how lucky are we that we get to make music, and what better way to bring people together and to try to overcome grief than by playing music. So it was no question in anybody's mind that the concert should go on and that we should use our power of music to bring people together and to commemorate and to celebrate the lives of the people that were lost.